Welcome to the space, Ivy. I'm so happy to have my first guest in the home.
I'm very happy to be here.
And yeah, this is the first episode of In-House with Ivy. So I guess we'll start from the beginning, which is like, how did we meet?
Well, I just remember like moving in a few different kind of creative circles in Sydney, and we had those kind of, few passing moments at different events, and it was like a little, hey.
And I had seen photos of your apartment on Instagram through Kira, and I was like, this girl is so cool.
Yas hosts the most amazing curated dinners where it's 6 people invited and 12 people show up and everybody's from all over the globe. And
the loudest people in the restaurant. Exactly. But I think like one of the things I've been really hitting you up about recently is obviously I've moved into my new place.
It's just beautiful.
Thank you very much. So nice to have you here. And in just wanting advice from you about there's a lot of white walls, and I'm very keen to fill those white walls and committing to something living with you, especially when I do kind of change out the furniture and the kind of styling so often. It almost feels like committing to a tattoo.
Yes, of course, of course. But let me appease you. That's like, what? Don't worry about those concerns, because art is definitely something that it grows and evolves with you. You'll start to notice things in the artwork that over time will speak to you more. So whether it be a color or a story, and I suppose these are some of the things we're going to talk about today, why buying original art is such a beautiful experience and why making those investments can really bring together the energy of a space.
So you're my favorite friend to name drop, but I don't always get the description right. So can you give me in your own words, like what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So I'm an art consultant. I founded my own consultancy last year, and essentially we work with individuals and organizations to build curated and well-informed art collections. So providing guidance into how people get started, and also then having a collection that will endure longevity. And then alongside that, I also have Project O2, which is something that we've been talking about, working with, where they're all emerging artists from Australia and New Zealand. And it's a curatorial program and digital arts platform. So it's easy access to acquire art immediately online, just like an online shopping experience. But also we do pop-ups, so exhibitions in unlikely spaces.
Speaking of art in unconventional spaces, one of my favorite memories was when you invited me to Spring 1883, which is an art fair inside the Windsor Hotel. So you're often at these types of exhibitions and stuff. Can you explain what that is and why a consultant would need to frequent these?
So that exact environment is an art fair. So art fairs are one of the most exciting ways to experience contemporary art, because you have all of these galleries from across Australia who come together and get to activate their booth, and in this case, a hotel room, because it is a heritage building. You can only use existing hooks. So you do have to get creative, and you see sculptures on the toilets, in the bathtubs, but there's this really fun environment at Spring because this is the way that you actually experience and live art in the home. So it takes it out of the white cube model, which can feel quite distant and isolated, to something that's warm and cozy.
I'm always so glad to have you around when I'm at these art fairs, because honestly, I always feel really overwhelmed. I feel like I don't know the language.
Experiencing art is visual first and verbal second. So never feel like you don't have a seat at the table because you don't understand the language that people are using to describe art. How you have an experience and a relationship to art is first and foremost. But it's also great to also learn. So, reading art books, reading like art criticism, you can start to pick up these ways that people describe paintings. And all of these should just be ways for you to enable how you experience the art and how you can discuss that with other people. It shouldn't be a barrier.
What are some questions I should be asking, or some things I should be researching?
When you walk into a gallery, look at what you're immediately attracted to and what the eye is drawn to. Definitely go back and do some research and see the artist's story and their practice, because understanding the art practice is only going to forge a stronger relationship with the art piece. Also, if you're buying a print or an edition, it's always great to make sure that they've been editioned and possibly hand-signed if you're looking at having that longevity and value. There are artists now who do work in multiples, even for sculptures. If you're going to the Bronze Foundry and you're getting a cast sculpture, you may make a series of them. And there is no discrepancy in terms of value per se. So you don't want to feel like a print or photography or an edition is a consolation prize to getting an original. It's absolutely not the case.
Okay, so Ivy's brought some things, some goodies to show us.
Some things. So when we're talking about an edition here, so you can see this is a art book actually, which is another type of art collecting. So this catalog here, it's 165 of 500, which means that there was 500 of these printed, and this is edition 165.
Yes.
And these are just like little things to be aware of if you are looking at buying prints and editions as opposed to buying an original artwork.
Whenever I've experienced these art fairs with you and we go and visit the galleries, the first thing that the gallery owner or person rep will say is they'll give you the backstory of the artist.
Yes.
They'll tell you where the artist is from, they'll tell you you all these things about, because like, I guess that is quite relevant to the selling of an artwork as well.
Totally, and it just does help the audience forge those relationships because, like I said, that instinct reaction to an artwork is, I think, probably the most important part in your relationship that you will have with it. Beyond that though, having an understanding of who the artist is, what their practice is, what their artwork is saying is only going to deepen that relationship. And it will change in different contexts. So bringing in one artwork into your space versus bringing it into another person's home, bringing it into an office is also going to recontextualize that art.
Yeah.
And knowing that backstory is just going to give greater, deeper meaning.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the ways that I really love working with brands because often brands, they curate their collection as part of their brand identity. So they're looking for synergy between what their brand ethos is and what they're trying to sell to a customer or who they're trying to present in the public eye.
Yeah.
And that's where a consultant can really thrive, when you can have some kind of creative input into what the story and the narrative of the art collection is going to be. And that's where I think that people also most rely on art consultants, because if you say, I really need something blue, I need it to be this by this, you could probably get
What was the color blue that I said?
like a cobalt, I think it was.
There's like a
Eve's Klein.
Eve's Klein.
You do know the jargon.
I saw it, well, because I saw a TikTok that was making fun of it, and it was like, my sister is so obnoxious, she's wearing Yves Klein blue.
Yes.
And it's become like quite a popular blue now. Yeah, I mean, there's always funny ways that, like, I think the art world, it's a complementary relationship where like the art world exists because it's reflecting on and commenting on culture. Yeah. And then culture also is commenting on what is happening in the art world. You know, it's always a conversation.
Totally. I mean, that's that whole saying of art reflects life, life reflects art.
My Mises.
Yes, exactly right. And look, at the end of the day, I think that that's one of the most beautiful things about art is that it is this kind of living archive. And, you know, we just touched on NFT before and AI, and you know, it's not my passion per se, but it's also a reflection of the world that we're living in now. And art is always going to be this like evolving beast that's going to pick up, you know, morsels of what's going on in the world socially, politically, environmentally, and then produce a creative outlet from it.
We could go even further into like this concept of the death of the author, and that like, which is where the viewer bestows meaning onto an artwork. Like it's detached from the meaning that the artist had in the original kind of when they made it.
So this is an art magazine published by Sullivan and Strumpf. So they are a local Melbourne gallery. They also have galleries in Sydney and Singapore. We've been to a few of their openings and seen them at the art fairs. And they do a really great job of providing that context and that backstory to the artists that they work with through this magazine. It just gives you a lens to view the art in that perhaps elevates the experience of viewing the art.
Yeah.
They've done an article here about Polly Bulland, and Polly is one of my favorite artists that they work with. She does these really kind of bodily sculptures. And I think, again, looking at these firsthand, people might be quite perplexed about what they are, what the artwork is saying. And these are just one of these great resources, whether it be through Instagram or online or picking up one of these art magazines to get a deeper understanding of what the art is trying to say.
Yeah. And one of the words I keep hearing is provenance.
Provenance.
Can you please explain what that is and why it's important in the art world?
Provenance is one of the most important things for art collectors, and unfortunately it's one of those things that's often overlooked. Provenance starts with an artist signing the back of their artwork and putting a date on it. It's the beginning of the artwork story. From there, it's kind of all of the hands that it follows through. So where it goes to the gallery, then it goes to the client, then perhaps the client resells it, it goes to the auction house, and you end up with this quite extensive documentation that follows the life path of that artwork. And why that is important is because it stops fakes from entering the market, because all of a sudden you can see, well, hang on, as you may have known, these stories, these Rothkos have just appeared in New York and there's 10 of them. And because the provenance wasn't investigated thoroughly, they were sold and they were purchased and people thought they were buying originals because they didn't look at the provenance.
Yeah.
So provenance is very important. It also is great for ethical reasons as well, to make sure that the artists were being paid correctly. In Australia, we do have these rules about secondary market works, a percentage still going back to the original artist within a specific time frame.
So does that mean, say I bought an artwork and then I resold it, then when I sell it, the money, some of the money goes back to the artist?
It should.
Oh, so it's kind of like royalties.
Yes,
in a way.
Exactly.
Okay. So I've pulled my laptop out because when you talked about Rothko replicas, I remembered this documentary I saw ages ago called Made You Look.
Yes.
Which was, and I'm just reading this straight from Google, basically this massive art gallery scandal where they found Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko artworks that were sold for millions to wealthy art collectors. and they were exposed as elaborate forgeries.
Yes.
And the gallery had to close.
It was an undoing of like an institutional gallery. And yeah, hilarious.
Because the whole thing here is provenance.
Provenance, exactly.
But yeah, so I think like this topic of provenance, originals, archivists, the responsibility of archivists and kind of authenticating things.
Yes.
If we go even more meta into the world we're in right now, where deep fakes and replications of identity are becoming even more accessible, it's almost like we're in a time of protecting provenance.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm team protect provenance.
Team protect provenance.
Totally. With the Project 2 platform where I sell emerging art, it doesn't matter whether it's a small piece of artwork, $100, a small ceramic, everything comes with a certificate of authenticity.
Right.
I think it's one of the most important things that you can do as either a gallerist or a consultant is making sure that you're setting your clients up for success with provenance.
So circling back, I've thoroughly enjoyed this investigation of the art world and reminding myself of documentaries I've seen and knowing what provenance is. Let's come back to this space and my white walls. Sure. And let's talk about things like budget, placement, and how I would approach my next purchase, which is going to be through you.
With budget, I think it's great to always just start with a price point that feels very accessible to you in the moment. Especially when it comes to your first art piece, you want it to feel really exciting. You don't want to buy a piece and then have like credit card regret and think, oh my God, how am I going to feed myself for
Done that.
Yeah. As artists' careers grow and there might be some auction records going around, thinking, all right, these are feeling like investments. It's contributing to your asset wealth. Then maybe start to splash around in a bigger pool. But when you're starting out, you've got a beautiful new apartment, go for something that you just are excited to have. You're going to put on the wall. It's only going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Like artists are real people, so they may choose to put the brushes down and never paint again, and that could do amazing things for their career, or it could do terrible things for their career. You just never know. There are obviously indicators that you can look for. Are the artists being recognized by global galleries? Are they participating in global art fairs? Are they being placed in collections in the institutions or prominent art collectors in the country? There are things that you can look for. There are signs, and I can always obviously help with kind of leading down those paths. But I think, again, as you're getting started, purchasing from the heart is more important. You want to fall in love with art collecting, not falling in love with the possibility of what an artwork might become.
Yeah, and the resale value.
That dirty little word. Financially, it can be a great move though for some people. And even when you're applying something like a mortgage, your art is an asset piece that can contribute to
I didn't know this.
Exactly.
Ivy, I have thoroughly enjoyed having you on the freedom couch in my apartment as episode 1 of In-House. Stay posted, everyone. And I'll put links in bio to all of your projects, including Project O2.
Yes, that would be amazing. If anybody's interested in ever supporting emerging artists, it's a great place to start. It's very accessible price points. We work on keeping our commissions low, so more goes back to the artist, and it's delivered to your doorstep. It's online shopping. You can sit down on the couch, pull out your laptop, and you can have a beautiful original art delivered to your door.
Can't wait to do that. I love to online shop. All right, thank you so much. That's episode 1 of In-House.